Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and I'm out on another walk. And this time I'm in Slindon. I'm on the Slindon Estate. Now Slindon Estate is about 6 miles north of Bognor Regis, just off the A29. I've parked my car in a National Trust car park, and today the object of my exercise is to go and investigate the old medieval deer park, and in particular the Park Pale. Now, I haven't been here before, so I've got to guess where it is, and I think it's down this track here. Cold this morning. I'm filming in January, early January. You can still see the trees are denuded from their leaves, apart from, of course, the evergreens. And I'm heading down this track south towards the medieval deer park. Now, the medieval deer park, we're talking about 1100 to 1300. That was the sort of time span that we're looking at. And within that time, the deer parks were sort of a Norman obsession, really, certainly for the rich. When the Normans did the Domesday Book, they recorded 35 deer parks. By 1300, there were 3,200 deer parks across the country. Now this is woodland that is managed, and I wish I could tell you what all the trees were. I'm still trying to do, my challenge this year is my tree identification. I don't know, I know that in Slindon there are some beeches, so maybe that's what these are. There's a stump here that you can see already. The stump is sprouting, and on the tips, you probably won't be able to see this, right up close there is the bud on the terminus of that little sprouting branch. Let's press on and see if we can find the actual pale, and that's what I've come to see. I've read a bit about them, but I actually want to come and see one. These medieval parks, I mean, when we think of a park, you know, we think of somewhere where you walk the dog. Back in Anglo-Saxon times, it could have been a piece of land with a fence around it. In the Georgian times, it was very much a countryman's garden. But the medieval, oh, I can see it. The medieval park very much meant a deer park, a place to keep deer. So when the Normans came in, prior to that, there weren't really any deer parks in England. The Romans, I believe, kept deer and had some form of deer park, but their deer park, now I wonder if we can go either side of this, was in Italy and not in this country. And if they did have them, actually we'll walk. I just want to demonstrate the shape of it. Here we go, look. This is the Pale I'm passing. Up there and along. I'm actually going to walk this side of it, inside the actual park. It is very boggy. See, you can see the ditch here, and then the earthworks. That's what the Pale is, and that earthwork probably would have been taller, the ditch would have been deeper, go back 800 to 900 years. And on the top would have been a stout, probably oak, but may not have been oak, fence. And the reason for that is that apparently deer are very strong. They're stronger than pigs, apparently, and more agile than goats. And so keeping them in would have been a problem, and hence you get the Pale. Our native deer were red and roe deer. So fallow deer, which was easier to keep, wasn't introduced until the Normans. The Normans introduced it. It's actually an oriental species. Let's go up here, still through the mud, and on. Oh, I think actually we have to go the other side. We're just following the official signpost, which continues up here. But there's a sign here. Oh, it's about thinning and what have you. So you can see here, look, you can see how the pale comes round this corner and goes up here and continues round the park, which is what we're going to follow a little bit. Would have taken some manpower to have dug out this medieval pale, as you can see. I mean, now it's been trimmed and kept in good condition. If we just cross back onto the top here, you can see how tricky it would have been for the fallow deer to break through. Especially as where I'm walking, there would have been this sturdy fence. And on the inside of the park, beyond those trees, is the estate and what would have originally been the manor of Slindon. Let's just have a look at this. Just have a look at this tree. Here we go, look. Now, this is a beech tree. Slindon is known for its beech trees. If you have a look at this bud here, that long stem, that's what helps you identify it as beech. And if we come over here, we'll see. Now, there are some beautiful beech trees apparently. I haven't seen them, but they were felled, or they came tumbling down during the 1987 storm. Look at this marvellous tree. Now, it's quite old and a bit rugged. It's beech is supposed to be smoother, so that one's a bit more weathered than I was expecting. But from my tree identification, those buds are what you would describe as a beech, and it'll open up. Now, talking of beech, somewhere to the south of me, actually, I'm imagining, there is a raised shingle beech. The sea, 500,000 years ago, came up this far, right as far inland, whatever we are, 6, 7, 8 miles from Bognor Regis, and there are traces of Stone Age man here. Of course, that's all receded now. This circumnavigates, I believe, most of the estate in a very large area, and being a medieval park, and presumably one of the earliest, it is quite large. Anybody could have owned a deer park. You had to get a license to embark. It was a status symbol. It meant that you had power and that you had money. Let's just dive through here for a second and have a look at the actual park itself. We'll have a look at some of the grounds. Here we go. In the distance there, we can just about make out the house. It's very small. And as time passed, of course, a lot of the land was enclosed and delineated. People owned different properties, so some of the deer parks became much smaller and irregularly shaped because they had to adhere to the contours of the land, or the land that they could buy. Anyway, let's go through here. I think I've effectively come to the end of my time and my walk. So I hope that you have enjoyed it. It's been very exciting, and it's thanks to one of my viewers again who prompted me to go and have a look at the deer pale. And here you can see it sways round and carries on around the Slindon Estate. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed it. Do join me again on one of my other walks, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.